This show is brought to you by Manscaped. Use the code AFTV for 20% off your order and free shipping at manscaped.com. Welcome along to AFTV. We're going to take a look at 5 things we learnt after Arsenal were beaten at home by Chelsea 2-0. I've got James with me. I was at the game watching it. James was in the studio watching it. Wherever you watched it from, it was the same thing. Terrible. Right? That's what I think. But we're going to take a look at 5 things. James?
Yeah.
Number 1.
I thought we could start with the only positive. Lokonga. I thought Lokonga, there's one positive thing I think we learned is that Lokonga looks ready to contribute to the first team. We brought him in. The talk was great. We've kind of got the Partey back up. We've got someone for the future, 21 years old. But we spent 20 mil on him. And I can see why. He looks a real player. I thought he looked really mature in midfield. He's coming up against Kovacic and Jorginho. And, this is the champions of Europe. We hate saying it, but they are. I thought he looked very assured. And listen, he's gone and delivered a very mature performance against, one of the best teams in Europe. So fair play to him. I thought he was really good. What did you think of him?
Yeah, no, I thought Sambi Lokonga was really good. I thought he was decent even in the Brentford game. And when you consider... you've got to take into account as well, it's his first game at the Emirates in front of the fans. Like you said, very comfortable on the ball. He won his battles.
He did.
Right? When you play football, that's the first thing they say, win your personal battles. I thought that he won the majority of his, like you said, up against a really good midfield. Didn't have a lot of backup from Xhaka in that midfield, but, I liked him. And brave on the ball, comfortable, willing to take it in, very uncomfortable spaces. We've got a player here. We've got a player for the future. And I think I agree with you, a real positive. What was the second thing we learned?
It's all downhill from here, Robbie.
It's all downhill.
And the worst thing is, so much of it is kind of almost relearning things we knew anyway. But Arteta, very tactically naive in this game. It's something that Graham and I are going to break down on Tactical Insight. But it's so frustrating because we go into it in the week. Graham's talking about it. I think I heard you talking about Cecil. Why don't we go 3 at the back? Why don't we match them? We know they can be dangerous. The Alonso and Reece James, that's where a lot of that kind of good stuff comes from. Lukaku's going to be a handful. So let's give Mari some help, especially because we don't have Gabriel, and then we find out that White's not available. Yeah, that's unfortunate. But I don't think we helped out our back 4, and I just tactically we looked a mess. There are times where Xhaka was kind of in the back 3. I don't really know why. There were times where Lokonga was a one-man midfield. There were times where Xhaka was left back and Tierney was our furthest player up the pitch. What was Saka instructed to stay quite high up? It was all a bit of a mess. I even see Pepe on the right, Saka on the left. I know it's a small thing, but swap them over. Pepe played some of his best football for Arsenal from the left, and Saka's definitely played his best on the right. Never looked to try it or do anything different. So tactically, I thought very naive and just thought, it's almost like he said to himself, you know what? It doesn't matter we've got 6 first-team players. 6 starters missing, right? Which is unfortunate. But he said, I don't care. I'm going to do it my way. And I thought that was borderline arrogant, to be honest.
Too many instructions and no organisation. And this was an opportunity for him to go back to a system that really suited him, the system that won him the FA Cup, the system that beat Chelsea in the FA Cup and Manchester City. Go back to a free... you're missing Ben White, but he could have played a free of Rob Holding, Pablo Mari and Kieran Tierney. Yeah? You could have played that as a system, but he didn't. And, we knew all day long what Chelsea are going to do because that's what Tuchel's been playing all along. And both goals coming with acres of space for Reece James. And, it was tactically he got outdone.
It's amazing because he won at Stamford Bridge reverting to a back 3 for one game. It was the back 4 pretty much all of last season. But he went to the Bridge, he went to a back 3, played Saka right wing back. We thought this is weird. It worked. I'm really surprised he went away from it.
Third thing we learnt.
I want to start by saying we love Gabriel Martinelli. He's been travelling a lot. He then had the injury. He's had a lot going on. I don't think he's ready to be a number 9. And I know we're 2 games in. I know he's young. He's going to develop. But the kind of feeling amongst a lot of Arsenal fans I speak to is that he's our future striker. He's the one who's going to lead the line. He'll get the number 14 shirt one day, and that's his future. I've always liked him on the left driving at players, and in the Brentford game, all right, he was on the left in the Brentford game, didn't do a lot. But today against Chelsea, I thought he really struggled. I thought he looked like he couldn't really get into the game. Even when Lacazette's struggling, he's coming short, winning fouls, using his experience in that way. I thought Martinelli was really anonymous. I felt for him. The team weren't playing well. And if there's one position that suffers when everyone else isn't doing their job, it's the striker. It's up front. You need service. But at the same time, worked hard. I'll give him that. I wasn't seeing things that made me think, he looks dangerous. It's going to cause problems as a striker. So yeah, it's a sad one because he's young and we love him. But yeah,
he's not a centre forward like number 9 straight down the middle, a la Lukaku. And I think as well, I'd say the other thing I'd add to that, it shows how much we miss in Lacazette, because Lacazette is the one player who can hold that ball up and bring other people into play, especially in a game where you haven't got all the possession. And we just did not have an outlet at all today.
He helps you relieve pressure.
Yeah. So I'd agree with you that one. Fourth thing we learned?
Did we learn this? I think it cemented something, which is that this right-back situation needs to be addressed. Now, why are we saying this? I'm sure people are watching this going, well, we knew this. Well, I think a lot of us went into the season thinking, all right, we've done a lot of business. We've got to be realistic with what Arsenal can do. Maybe the right-back position between Cedric, Chambers and Maitland-Niles will figure something out. Right, temporary, we address it again next summer. I think we learned that it's a real problem. Now, I don't mind Cedric. I think he's okay. He should be a backup right-back. But what's quite staggering is that he went into the Spurs game, which, it was the Mine series with Bellerin starting, goes into the Brentford game with Chambers starting, and then he goes into this game with Cedric starting at right-back. That, to me, just says that he doesn't have a clue what he wants to do. And that is worrying. It needs addressing. So, yeah, I mean, who'd be your first choice?
There's 4 right-backs. Bellerin, Ainsley Maitland-Niles, Callum Chambers and Cedric, and we ain't got a right-back. 4. And again, I'm looking at it and I'm saying, I remember before we brought Cedric in, we had Bellerin and Ainsley Maitland-Niles battling out for that position. My preferred option at that time was Ainsley Maitland-Niles, who was doing well. Mm-hmm. We went and bought Cedric. What for? I didn't understand it at the time. I don't understand it now. He's not even a starter. Yeah. Cedric is a decent right back, but not the answer. He's an aging right back as well. Yet another one. That's why I understand some of the signings, what they're trying to do at the moment, to try and address those things. But they same people made that signing last season. Yeah. Why? Why did we need Cedric? And like you said, Callum Chambers played the last one. Who's going to play the next one? Ainsley Maitland-Niles. It's ridiculous. Honestly, the right back position needs sorting. I try Ainsley in there now. Tried everybody else. Let's give him a try. Let's see what he can do. I think he's stronger. I thought Cedric today, he never got forward once. Yeah. Wasn't brave enough. Wasn't strong enough. And this is a problem area that needs to be addressed before the end of the transfer window. Yeah. So, like you said, it's cemented that we have a big problem in that area. And Stan Kroenke, get the checkbook out. We need a right back.
Yeah, you're right. Final thing, maybe feels an obvious one, but the players that have been missing, and we may as well go through them. Ben White, Gabriel, Thomas Partey, Martin Odegaard, Aubameyang and Lacazette. That's a spine of players. We're not talking
your best players
wing or a left back. Those 6 are probably in our top 8 or 9 best players, right? You then chuck in Smith Rowe and Saka. They're crucial. Now, I think we knew it about some players, but I think there's a tendency when things aren't going right to go, drop Aubameyang, drop Lacazette, bring him in, give him a chance, give Balogun a run, give Martin. Listen, they might not be quite at the level or on the form we want, but they're crucial because what was so damning about this performance is Arsenal never looked like they were going to get back in it. And I thought Chelsea looked suspect at the back, and I still felt that Arsenal weren't ever really going to get a goal or building sustained pressure or whatever. These players are absolutely crucial. I see why we spent the money on Odegaard, and I see why maybe there's a reluctance to just sort of get rid of Lacazette or get rid of Aubameyang because hard to replace.
Listen, you can't get rid of... I've said it before, with the Lacazette thing, I understand why they're trying to move him on, because obviously, 1 year left after this year on high wages. They want to get him off the wage bill. But I said it all along, only get rid of him if you have a suitable replacement, which they do not have right now. And we've seen in these games that Balogun, Martinelli, they're not ready to step into that void yet, right? Aubameyang as well, when he came on, I thought he looked lively. He was trying, he looked lively. But he, like you said, it shows the importance of them. Thomas Partey in the midfield. I mean, I think this is where we have to be slightly, give Mikel Arteta a little bit of, because there was fans after the game that I were interviewing and they were saying Arteta out and, get him out and he's, I think even Chelsea, with the unbelievable squad they got, had they have been missing 5 key players like that today, even they would have had a bit of a problem. Not as much of a problem as us, because they've got a much better squad. Yeah. But for us who don't have the squad, we have to recognise that when you're missing those 5 players, and then, like you said, Ben White as well as the new signing, that throws your plans into absolute turmoil. And really and truly, when you looked at Chelsea's starting lineup and squad, and you looked at Arsenal's starting lineup and squad, they're supposed to beat us 2-0. Let's be real right now. Yeah. So that's just the reality of the situation. That is how far off we are, and that's how much improvements this squad needs. Yeah. Because when those key players are missing, we're far off. But James, thank you very much. Yeah. For you guys, what else did you learn? Well, we learned a lot. A lot of it we already knew. But if you can think of anything that we've missed out, leave it in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you guys. But yeah, listen, it's a very chastening defeat. Arsenal losing 2-0 at home to Chelsea. 2 games, no points. But it's okay. Man City next.